Hi, this is Dr. Kang's Scuba Diving Stories. Today's topic is in-water recompression. When we dive, decompression sickness is something we hate, but it comes. But we might not be diving in an area where evacuation is very easy or readily available. In that case, especially for technical divers, in-water recompression is a good option, and it's something that they do quite often. So to talk about the in-water recompression, we'll look at the treatment modalities for decompression illness. There's some divers' attitude on DCI a little different from technical diver to recreational divers. First aid and omitted decompression stops, and there's some procedure for that. What if the recompression therapy is delayed? And in-water recompression is an option. So this is what I want to talk about today. Treatment of decompression illness. First is the first aid. Then we put the victim in a certain position, and maybe I have already talked about the recovery position, and the recovery position especially for cerebral arterial gas embolism victim. There are certainly some medical treatment that can be done in hospital, and recompression. If recompression at the chamber is not readily available, in-water recompression is an option. So first aid, we do 100% oxygen for sure. Also, we try to rehydrate the diver. So on the field, it's almost always pour oral water. If available, IV fluid. It really helps. So if you have any experience getting a hyperbaric chamber therapy, you might remember that before you start the recompression, they put lots of fluid intravenous before we start the recompression. Position, recovery position for cage, and if we have nitrox or heliox, probably air is better than that. So we could use nitrox for first aid. Is in-water recompression possible as a first aid, which I think is also an option. Technical divers and recreational divers, they do and they should have different attitude for decompression illness. In technical diving, decompression illness can come, and it does come quite often. So the main target is you can be bent but no paralysis and walk back home. But for recreational divers, no DCI, and want to walk back to the next dive. Why technical divers should have a different attitude for DCI? There's high incidence of unpredictable DCI in technical diving. Higher probability of having to omit decompression stop, and then comes a severe DCI. Let's say your beloved buddy is seizuring on the water. Your beloved team is having trouble by panic, then you have to omit your own decompression option and bring the victim up to the surface. This is a very serious case. In this case, you have to go back down and finish your decompression option. So tech divers should always be prepared for ultimate probability of have to get some DCI treatment after diving. So in commercial diving, if you don't have a portable chamber, they don't give you the business permit. So is a recompression mandatory? Not in mild to some moderate DCI symptoms. Better if you have the recompression therapy, but if you can get early 100% oxygen first aid, in many cases the symptoms just go away. It is a truth. So first aid is really, really important. However, there will be some longer recovery time without recompression. But if it is a serious, like cage, cerebral arterial gas embolism, oh, it's a totally different story. So in water recompression, I have some in Korean. In water is bringing the divers down underwater to treat symptoms of DCI. So there are some two main different methods for in-water recompression for technical diver. The first one is Australian method, and don't have any intention to go too deep into this. And then we have a Hawaiian method too. So if you want any detailed information, you can contact me and I will send you the PDF file for this. In-water recompression, in theory, certainly has more disadvantage than advantage. But advantage is such an important advantage that we take the risk of disadvantages. First, we absorb more nitrogen if we use air for in-water recompression. And if we use oxygen, there is good chance of getting oxygen toxicity. We have some problem with uncontrolled environment. Underwater, it's not like on land. We might not have enough. Let's go for the risk of drowning first. You're underwater, and if your symptom get worse and worse, then you can really drown. There's some hypothermia problem. Water is always colder than outside, so have to be prepared for that as well. And then there's very difficult communication problem. So always we need some tenders or somebody to help the diver doing the in-water recompression. I would recommend at least 2 healthy divers doing the same thing with the victim and helping him. There's some hazardous marine lives. Jellyfish should be one of them. But there's certainly some advantage, which is immediate recompression, which is very important. Especially when you don't have any nearby facility equipped with a hyperbaric chamber. So, excuse me. There's some data. 527 divers did some in-water recompression, and most of them the symptom was gone, which is really important. So in-water treatment is not something that we should avoid. It's something that we should always put into consideration. In-water recompression, I talked about the treatment of DCI and target of technical diving and target recreational diving, first aid for DCI. Let's put it this way. In technical diving, you must finish your decompression obligation, and you have to go back for in-water recompression. In recreational diving, no training agencies ever recommend that. But if there is no other option, if a diver is qualified to use oxygen underwater, I mean 100% oxygen, there's no way to evacuate the patient, there's no nearby hospitals, then we can consider in-water recompression as an option. So this should be the conclusion for today. Thank you for listening, and I'd like to come back with a different subject soon. Thank you very much.